It starts with an itch. Just under the surface, I can ignore it at first. It's a little bit annoying. And then it grows in urgency until I just have to scratch it or I will go insane. It's the end of 2012, and after yet another photograph of an old man in bad light at a podium, that itch has got to be scratched. I have got to work on another personal project. So for me, this means going and researching. But first, a disclaimer. I have a pretty great job. I get to photograph the leaders of our country, including the President of the United States. Occasionally, I've been known to fly on Air Force One. It's a pretty kick-ass job. And yet, I really miss that sense of intimacy that I would get from my first photo projects back in college. I would photograph a teen mother, and you know, she needed me in a way that the President of the United States just doesn't need me. She needed me to tell her story, and it was really rewarding. So it's time to do that again. So I start researching. I need a few things. I need something that's inherently photogenic. I need something I can do in a limited period of time, and something that hasn't been done to death over and over again by my very talented colleagues. So I start looking through old contests for inspiration, and I come across this beautiful photograph. And it's two children in rural Tanzania. One has this beautiful red undertone, dark, beautiful skin. And the other one, although also equally beautiful, is completely white, because this child has albinism. Well, albinism, what is that? So the caption informs me that albinism is a genetic condition that leads to a lack of pigment in the body. In Tanzania, this is particularly striking because they look so different from everyone else. And also in Tanzania, albinism can be a death sentence because witch doctors exploit traditional beliefs in black magic to sell body parts of albino people into magic poultices and potions that are supposed to bring the user luck or riches. It's a truly horrifying story. So, inherently visual, definitely. Interesting, yes. Can I do this in a few weeks? I'm not sure. So I dig a little bit, and I find out that since the story has been done, the government has been putting people with albinism into centers purportedly for their own safety. They can't really get out, but neither can the bad guys get in. And this has not really been done in the mainstream media, and I think this is my story. I can do this. So I start digging, and I find that there is a nonprofit in Arlington, Virginia, that specializes in this exact thing. Yes, this I can do. So I call the lovely people at Asante Mariamu, and I tell them what I'm interested in doing, and they say yes. Awesome. They give me the name of Reverend Bart in Tanzania, and over a crackly Skype line, he says yes. Yes, 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 come to Tanzania, and I will connect you with everyone you need. And I was like, excellent. So before I know it, I'm landing on a rickety plane in rural western Tanzania. After several hours crossing craterous potholes through the red dirt roads of Tanzania, I arrive at the center where I will be spending the next week. Immediately I get out of the vehicle and I'm surrounded by a large group of tiny albino children all screaming Mzungu at the top of their lungs, which means white person in Swahili. So kids, come on, like I'm totally a little tanner than you, no? Okay, point taken, I am not at home. So I spend time trying to just be a fly on the wall of this documentary approach, and God, it is just not working. I'm so different from everyone else there. I'm a spectacle everywhere that I go. What am I gonna do? I would spend time interviewing people, getting to know them, hearing these heartbreaking stories, and the pressure would build that I just had to be able to do their stories justice. It's nighttime, and I go back to my, I sit down and the coils creak on the rickety bed. I'm sitting under a mosquito net, and it's all white around me, and then at 10 p.m., the lights go out because the electricity is over at 10 p.m. in this rural village. It's just me on the bed and the glow from my laptop and the pictures and the stories. God, what am I doing here? I'm spending a whole month of my vacation away from my newlywed husband, who's being very understanding. I spent thousands of dollars of my own money. God, but you know, more importantly, I'm hearing these heartbreaking stories every day, and I just don't know if I can do them justice. Am I good enough as a photographer to do these stories justice? Are the pictures good enough? Am I good enough? I'm thinking about the story of a young man who was attacked by a group wielding machetes who barely escaped by hiding in a church. and a toddler with albinism who was abandoned at the center, her parents never to be heard from again. The infant who was stolen from her mother's sleeping arms and butchered. I have to get these stories out. I'm looking through all of the photos that I've taken so far, and a couple photos jump out at me. These are portraits that I kind of did as an experiment, and I had taken people to this white wall. It had this lovely patina from like red dirt-covered sticky fingers. And it was just a nice spot, and I had experimentally done these portraits, and I thought, you know, there's something in these portraits, there's a sense of humanity that really comes out from looking at these photographs. I think this portrait series, as unplanned as it was, I think this might be the way to go. So the next few days, I work with an intensive purpose. I'm gathering people whose stories I already knew from interviewing them earlier in the week, and I'm bringing them to have their portraits made. One of these people is Angel. Angel is a wispy 17-year-old. She has wide space blue eyes and short cropped white blonde hair. She's very, very shy, and she speaks in a low, raspy whisper. I ask Angel to come with me, and I start setting up these portraits. Now, a thing you need to know about people with albinism is that in Tanzania, they're thought of as being bad luck if they're next to you, but good luck if they're used in like sacred potions. They are ostracized and used, basically, and it's just really heartbreaking. People don't touch them because they're not thought of really being human. So if you kill them, they don't really die because they weren't humans to begin with. So as I touched Angel and I kind of moved her face gently from like left to right, she really opened up. And first, she smiled shyly. And a little bit later, she smiled broadly. And then suddenly, she laughed out loud. That's the human connection I've been seeking. Angel's mother, totally by chance, happened to be at the center for the first time that they'd seen each other in 4 years. And I asked her mother to come too. Now, Angel's mother and Angel look nothing alike, only exactly the same, like an inverse negative of one another. I asked Angel to tell me a little bit about how she had come to the center, why she was there, and she began to tell me her story. I was brought here 4 years ago after a group of men, led by my own father, came to attack me. The men killed my grandparents while they were protecting me, and I was able to escape. And I haven't seen my mother for the last 4 years. Angel's mother turned to me and asked me if I could do anything for her skin cancer. Angel's forehead was covered with lesions that were from early skin cancer that had been removed. I just felt powerless. There's really nothing I could do from so far away to help her with her cancer treatment. I didn't know where to start. But there was one thing I can do. I can get these stories out to the world. I have to get this story out to the world. So I spent another week going to villages and doing a more documentary approach, but you know, nothing really has that resonance that these portraits from the center do. I'm back in DC. There is a knot of anxiety in my stomach as I go up to my boss to show him my preliminary edit that I did on my vacation. He likes it. Relief floods my body. And in the next few weeks are a whirlwind of activity. 2 edits go up, 1 reportage, 1 portraiture. They go out to a variety of outlets, and these stories really are heard, and it is wonderful because I had to do that. That was the one thing I had to do. So I'd like to say that all is well now, that I'm very good now in my life behind the velvet rope, photographing President Obama meeting the Prime Minister of Israel. But this is a story of obsession, and I'm starting to feel that itch again.